Good afternoon. Now, during the 1790s, during the administration of President George Washington, we're going to have the Federal Civilization Act. And what this did was it forced Native Americans, indigenous peoples, to assimilate into white American culture by abandoning their native ways, their native belief systems, and adapting and accepting white American culture, ways, as well as society. And if they did not do this, what would happen is they would be dispossessed from their lands. They would be forcibly removed from their lands. Now, in the year 1819, March 3rd, 1819, we're going to have the Civilization Fund Act, and the federal government is going to pay missionaries to civilize Native Americans, indigenous peoples, in order to encourage them to assimilate into white American culture, to take on the ways as well as the habits of white American culture.
How many people know that today, March 3rd, is the 203-year anniversary of the Civilization Fund Act? And it's not as positive as you might think. This was an act passed by Congress to commit mass genocide. This fund took U.S. tax dollars and hired Christian clergy and missionaries to partner with the federal government for one single purpose: go into Native American communities without permission, steal their children, force them to forget their indigenous religions, and force them to convert to Christianity. In 1824, the Bureau of Indian Affairs was established to further remove Native Americans from their home communities and force them west of the Mississippi River. And throughout this process, Native American communities suffered mass genocide, lynchings, broken treaties, taking of their property, and denial of the most foundational and basic human rights. Native American leaders did their best to maintain some level of sovereignty by signing treaties with the United States government. The government would sign and then break these treaties to inflict maximum harm. A century later, a dictator named Adolf Hitler watched how the United States committed mass genocide of Native Americans and built his concentration and death camps to commit mass genocide of Jews during the Holocaust. And to this day, the genocide of Native Americans continues.
All right, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone, and we're here to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like it to the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, this is yet another installment of our camp series called For Thy Violence Against Thy Brother Jacob. All right, coming from Obadiah 1 and 10. All right, someone want to grab that?
Obadiah verse 10, it says, For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
God, and what it is, this is speaking directly to Esau Edom, who is the so-called white man, who is the wicked, according to Malachi 1 and 4. All right, and it's talking about for his violence against the children of Israel. All right, it says shame shall cover him. You know, now all of his dirt is being exposed, you know, all day long, you know, 365, 24/7. All right, all of his dirt is being so for everything that he's done to Jake and what he's planning to do to Jake. All right, we know what this ice is all about. All right, that they want to come after the tribes. You see, they started with the northern kingdom. All right, and now they you know, about to get started on the southern kingdom. All right, they've been trying to get us out there, you know, bait Jake out there with those riots and stuff like that. Jake ain't buying it, you know, because you know, Jake already knows what's going to happen. You know, as soon as they go out there, because you notice these protests that have been going along, you haven't been seeing any tanks, Edomites and riot gear, all this stuff. You know, stuff been real peaceful. All right. As soon as Jake get out there, they bring top military grade stuff out there to mow you down. All right. But we know eventually it's going to come. All right. But like I said, that shame is going to cover him. Everything he's been doing, past, present, and current, is being exposed. All right. And that tab is, you know, is reaching the heavens, that he cannot pay back unless it's with blood, as the scriptures say. All right. But it goes on to say he's going to be cut off forever. And that's just it. Esau, you have been trying to get rid of us. Go to Jeremiah chapter 31, verses 31 through 34. You've been trying to take the sun away, trying to take the moon away, take the stars away. All right. And the Lord said, I'm roughly paraphrasing, if you could do that, He will cast off the seed of Israel for all they've done. All right. Then it said you will try to measure the heavens, the foundations of the earth beneath. You haven't been to no moon. All right. You haven't been to the moon. And everybody think it was 1969. No, NASA Project A119, 10 years earlier, 1959, you tried to send a nuke to the moon. All right? That's what the Lord said. If you can take away those ordinances from me, I will also cast off the seed of Israel. Again, He said, if you can search the foundations of the earth. Talking about you've explored 20% of the ocean. How is that? Well, you don't know what 100% of it is. But that's just how this devil is. All right? He's been trying to get rid of us. And we're going to see in this article, that's exactly what they aim to do. All right? Somebody got something? Okay. All right. This article comes from one of our notable websites called EJI, meaning Equality Justice Initiative. And the topic is as you see on the screen. It says, Congress creates fund to civilize Native American people. All right. Go ahead and get into the article. It says, on March 3rd, 1819, the U.S. Congress enacted the Civilization Fund Act, authorizing the President in every case where he shall judge improvement in the habits and conditions of such Indians practicable, to employ capable persons of good moral character to introduce to any tribe adjoining a frontier settlement the arts of civilization. And Esau, who the hell are you to be the moral authority on being civilized? It's not you. Your history proves that. You are the most violent, vile person on this earth, as the scriptures say as such. Okay? Anything that doesn't you can't have or don't understand, you kill it. Okay? If you don't kill it, you're going to modify it in such a way that it's a profit to you and a degradation to the individual you're using it for. Okay?
Appreciate it.
Go ahead.
So just to back you up real quick, this is Proverbs chapter 4, starting at verse 14. It says, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not into the way of evil men. You see, and ultimately we know that the nation labeled as the wicked, right, according to scriptures, is none other than Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, and it said, well, enter not into the path of the wicked. And where a lot of our people go wrong is that, like it says in Proverbs 3rd chapter, they envy the way of their oppressor, man.
Choose out of his way.
Mm-hmm. And they choose his ways. You see, so they go against the scriptures. See, they want to be like him, right? Outwardly in appearance, and how he operates and things of that nature. You see, and ultimately that's what's going to lead to the downfall of our people, man. Mm-hmm. Our scriptures talk about how though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. It says, avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken unless they cause some to fall. So Esau, Edom's heart is always set upon, working up iniquity and mischief in the planet Earth, and really towards you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. See, because of course everybody else gets hit by it, gets affected by it, okay? But we understand that in all this, his goal, like it says in the book of Psalms, 83rd chapter, is pretty much make us a no more members, man. Get us out the planet Earth.
That's because he wants that birthright back. You can't have it.
Yep. It says, here's the point of verse 17. It says, for they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. So ultimately, that's all this dude is about. Violence and wickedness. This is why the scriptures say in Habakkuk 2, the soul which is lifted up in him is not upright. You see, it goes into what? The inner being of man, the man himself, the seat of emotions. So ultimately, Esau Edom's whole makeup is made up of everything that's contrary to righteousness, man. Wickedness, which goes back to the point you made, who was Esau Edom to declare, moral uprightness, and how to be a citizen, man. When this dude is the most wicked in the planet Earth.
This is what you quoted. It's the book of Job, chapter 30, verse 8. It says, they were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth.
Con, and when you go into that word base, it means lowest on the social order. Okay? Here you are trying to civilize the northern kingdom and the following things your way. The scriptures clearly tell us. Can you grab Deuteronomy 7:6 or 14:2? Baba Kushal.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. It says, "For thou art an holy people
Holy meaning separate. All right?
unto the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai thy God. The Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai thy God had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth."
Connie says the chosen people to be above all people. Okay? That means nation of Israel, Yasharallah, is elevated above the other 17 nations on the earth. So when this devil here is trying to coerce you to be like him, he's bringing you low. All right? Making you worse than him. You know, that whole term, integration, no. You know, because the thing is, when you integrate something, you know, and this is in the science field, you see this. When you integrate something, it brings the positives of both of those two entities together, and they never lose their origin. What they did was assimilate. You know, they took the best of you, put it under them, and then they take credit for it. We see that with the patent office. All right.
Let's get back into this real quick. Job 30:8 says, "They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth." And somebody can pull up the viler, but there's a point I want to make in there. The children of fools. And Psalms 14, the Lord had made mention of a fool. It says 14:1. It says Psalms 14:1. It says, "The fool have said in his heart, there is no God." So, you know, the seed, these are seed of evildoers, all right? Because we're going to read the next part of it. But these are children who their forefathers and the forefathers before them had. They don't believe in the ways of their heavenly Father, and all their ways are contrary, adverse. That's why we, tell them that tell you that he is the counterpart or the physical counterpart of Satan. You know, he does the workings of Satan, and it says they are corrupt. And if you look at their government and what we're finding out today's time, right? These are the children, the seed of their forefathers, and this is and they're doing all these odious and abominable works. All right, it says they are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. So to bring up this act, to say that they're looking to civilize the natives, but we know the history of how they came here and the natives were here and they set treaties with the natives. They broke all the treaties. They raped, robbed, and pillaged the entire land, the women, the children. Columbus has been quoted several times amongst the Brotherhood, you know, and many others on tongue falling upon themselves, saying that he did put down his sword, you know, one time. Also, how word had got back where they said we can take this peaceable people
50 men.
with 50 men. If you could bring that real quick, such as be at peace with thee. We'll pull up that viler first, and we'll get that. One.
That word "vile," it didn't give me anything in a blue letter, so I got.
That's fine. Yeah. All right.
No, I'm saying that word fool means one without discernment or judgment also. So.
If this is a vile in the etymol line, it says morally repugnant, morally flawed, corrupt, wicked. It says of no value, of inferior quality. It says physically repulsive through filth or corruption, disgusting, foul, ugly, degrading.
Now, the same native people in the history, when they came over, they taught them how to clean themselves. They taught them how to eat upon the land. So there was a lot of things that was actually shown to them and how that they should live as a people. But yet, like it tells us in Sirach, set them not by thee, lest they seek to take thy place or thy seat. Roughly paraphrasing. So these now the tables have turned, and the dog, is now looking at, the one who taught him, and calling him a savage. All right, you got that other one.
Mm-hmm. This is Psalm chapter 55 and verse 20. It says, "He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him."
These people were once, which are our people, the native tribes, the Northern Kingdom. These people were peaceable when they showed up. All right, go ahead.
Yep. It says, "He hath broken his covenant."
Mm-hmm.
It says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter."
So all the treaties and stuff that he has set with the natives, but he's also, when you look at today's time, like the brother brought out, this is their history.
Yep.
They come, they rape, rob, murder. Yahweh Shai said it first. It says, "The thief come," John 10:10, "The thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy." And once they have utterly destroyed a people, now they're in the land. They're calling themselves by the people of the land. They're now making all these accusations of projecting everything that they are onto the very people that they conquered. Right? You look at the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, especially the head tribe Judah here in the Americas. What are they saying? I always say the criminals, they grapists, and of course our women or harlots. And granted, we're under the curses, but they help forward that affliction. All right, we're under their vibration. All right, go ahead.
Yep. It says, "His words were softer than oil,
Mhm.
yet were they drawn swords."
Yeah. So though he speak peaceably, and he's coming, with goodly, pleasant words. War is in his heart. He's trying to find a way to put you in a pit. All right, to ensnare you, to entrap you, a way that he can get more out of you.
Yep.
That's it? All right, Con. We go back to the oracle.
Okay. Okay. It says, the fund paid white missionaries and church leaders to partner with the federal government to establish schools in Indian territories to teach Native children to replace tribal practices with Christian practices. In 1824, the federal government established the Bureau of Indian Affairs to oversee the fund and implement of programs to civilize the Native people. And this statement right here, tells you all exactly what we've been saying, every week, from the top Edomite person in government all the way down to the lowest dirtbag Edomite civilian. They are working together. All right.
Precept.
Go ahead.
This is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. It says, "Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." The reason we bring that up is because when the prophets, of Yahweh Shem Shai, we bring this scripture up, we bring it up in righteousness. What he said, there's something where it talks about, I think it's also in Sirach, where it talks about how the wicked or ungodly, all things are good, he used it for evil. I forget the phrasing, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, right. You want me to grab
Yeah,
it?
let's get it real quick. Yep. And while you're pulling that, let me know when you got it. But it says, "Train up a child in the way you should go." So, yeah, how we're talking about they're completely adverse, contrary to the ways of the Heavenly Father, is because the Lord is telling, have us learn His ways, the commandments, the law, statutes, commandments. It tells you, teach them to your children in the law. When thou goest in the way, you speak these things daily. We should be keeping them on the frontlets of our head,
Right.
our eyes, which is our mind.
Right.
Whereas Esau now, of course, he has parishioners, where he has pastors and preachers, and then they go and they're indoctrinating these children, but they're indoctrinating them to go wayward. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a Sirach or Ecclesiastes chapter 39, verses 26 and 27. It says, "The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour,
Oh, and he said the principal things, and one of the most principal things to the Israelite man is the scriptures,
Wisdom.
is wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get
Get
wisdom.
understanding.
With all thy wisdom, get understanding. Right.
Con.
So they're taking all the principal things and they turned it upside down. They use it for their benefit, and it's for our demise if we continue to follow them. There is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the ways thereof are death.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Since he don't have it, he don't want us to have it either, and he
Crab-
know
crabs in
that's
the
our
bucket.
power. Yep.
Yep. If I can't do it, then I'll pull anybody down. I'll take anybody down with me. Go ahead.
It says flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. All these things are for good to the godly.
And all those things, when you look into many of those that's been mentioned, you could actually relate to the scriptures as well. You know, like clothing, we got to be clothed with the armor of the Lord. The oil, which deals with the wisdom. The bread, the water. Yahweh Shai. So I just kind of, we have the physical and the spiritual side, but these things that they taken, and we go back to that article. Was there more on there?
It says, the last part of this verse,
Yeah.
it says, so to the sinners they are turned into evil.
Yeah. So of course, the vibration of Esau Edom, it says he pushed that throughout. When you look at music, they're pushing adultery, they're pushing they uplift, like folly is set in great dignity, but the rich sit in low place. Those who actually have this knowledge aren't pushed to the forefront, but all things that's contrary, adultery, drugs, eating abominable foods, fighting in the streets, those things you see with millions of views. All right, and these things teach our children,
Yep.
especially in today's time. All right, so there was an indoctrination that they were doing. Esau is not putting funds and money into anything unless they have an agenda behind it. Yeah,
That was it.
yeah. We go ahead.
Okay. The article goes on to say, in the following years, as the U.S. systematically removed tribes from their homelands to the land west of the Mississippi River, the U.S. turned to policies purportedly aimed to achieving the great work of regenerating the Indian race.
Regenerating.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
I had something.
that's not true. They want to exterminate, man.
Can I bring something?
Go ahead.
And this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15. It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness, which their nakedness is going toward their shame. And ultimately the shame of Israel is seen when Israel is operating outside the law, statutes, and commandments given unto them by the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You see now in this sense, right? Esau Edom, so-called white man, was taking away the ways that the natives were raised up in, and indoctrinating them in their white Christianity. You see, it's ultimately, we know that white Christianity is rooted in white supremacy, right? That doesn't teach the fear of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. White Christianity does not teach righteousness. Okay, so these are the things that Esau has to pay for, man.
Now, let's make it clear. The word Christian only appears 3 times in the scriptures. Okay, twice in Acts, one in 1 Peter, Acts 11:26, 26 and 28, and then 1 Peter 4:16. And when it was first used, the first Christians were disciples who were Israelites. Okay, that was actually a term of mockery at that time. Okay, nevertheless, the first Christians are Israelites. Then when you go to that one later in Acts 26 and 28, it was Agrippa who was speaking to Paul. Hey, I thought you tried to make me one of those Christians. No, you can't be. Just like you Edomites today can't be. All right, it's actually the Israelites. All right, that's why how they took the one word which appears the fewest times and turn it into a whole doctrine. It's unbelievable. What it's become. But now we see that it's fading away. All right, in a big way. Okay. It says, according to Indian Commissioner Luke Lay, it was indispensably necessary that they be placed in positions where they can be controlled and finally compelled by stern necessity, until such as time their general improvement and good conduct may supersede the necessity of such restrictions. And
Yeah, because what it was going on is a lot of them, they didn't just bend over and take it. They fought back. There was a lot of wars that were actually going on for like, and I think Kaya, someone, you know, it was like hundreds of years where they were warring with these tribes.
Yep.
You know, and then finally, you know, they got them to a point where they had them subdued and pushed them into lands, you know, or had certain areas occupied. Then they had to figure out a way to restructure them. And one of them is like dealing with the children. We have to reteach them, you know, and that's nothing different than what they're going to be pushing today's time. You know, we're looking at these internment camps that's being built, and looking to, you know, take many in and look to reteach,
re-educate.
yeah. So it's nothing different, nothing new under the sun. It's the same play, and he shows us. He just changed the wording, you know, of things.
Or that a repeat of Antiochus Epiphanes IV said, you don't want everyone to forsake their laws and follow what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Same stuff, same people, same stuff. You know.
Got it.
All right. Back to the article.
Mm-hmm.
It says, according to Indian Commissioner Luke Lay, it was indispensably necessary, and that word indispensably necessary means absolutely necessary. Okay? So basically in this sentence here, that they be slaves until we see that they're until we see fit. You know? It says, over the ensuing decades, the U.S. government's orientation towards Native American people fueled a paternalistic campaign to destroy indigenous culture.
The thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. So the whole point was to indoctrinate them to the point that they've taken all of their native tribe, the system. You know, they bred all of that out of them. You know.
Appreciate it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is straight to the point. Micah 2:2. It says, and they covered fields and taken by violence, and houses and taken away. Here's the point. So they oppressed a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. See, so that's all Esau's about. You know, beating the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans right out their ways, right out their customs, and getting them to conform to his customs, to his wickedness, man. You know, you go to Antiochus Epiphanes, right, during the time of Maccabees. Well, this is the same thing all over again. There is no new thing under the sun. It's the same people.
Yeah.
You know?
So, what year was that? If we could pull it up, the beginning of it.
The article says the act was enacted on March 3rd, 1819.
1819. You know that there were several wars going on because we've done violence against our brother Jacob videos of other native tribes. But then we're going to jump up several years.
No, I was going to say the field visit we did in the middle of last year, the Battle of Tippecanoe.
Yeah, do you remember what year that was?
That was last year.
No. What year? I forget.
Yeah.
No big deal. No big deal.
Battle of Tippecanoe.
Yeah, because it was like he later became president, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to run it up some years now later, because that was 1819. It says the Trail of Tears primarily because you know they mentioned they was pushing them, you know, and getting them past Mississippi River. What did it say, west of the Mississippi River? It says the Trail of Tears primarily occurred between 1937 to 1939. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, because, okay, here you have this act, the Civilization Act of 1819. 1830 was the full-blown Indian Removal Act. With,
This was going into
Andrew Johnson, who's on the $20 bill.
Yeah. So it says the forced removal of the Cherokee Nation peaking in 1838 to 1839, while the Indian Removal Act of 1830 initiated the policy. This is the brutal Army-led roundup and march of over 16,000. And again, this is the number they've given us. Cherokee from the southeast to the present day Oklahoma occurred during this period, resulting in over 4,000 deaths. All right. So then it says start of force removal. U.S. Army General Wilford Winfield Scott beginning the roundup of Cherokee into internment camps in May 1838. So things that we were just mentioning before, the internment camps. All right, when you're not going against, and they're coming down with great wrath. They're being exposed, as we mentioned before, for all the evil and wickedness that they've done. So now they have a short time, and they're trying to push this ultimate agenda to have this one world currency, one world order, where they lead all people. And of course, we understand through the scriptures, Al Bashim Al Shai, they're not going to reach their enterprise, but we also see that there's a pattern. So eventually, as he's got the ICE, I think her name Pam
Bondi.
Yeah, I think it was Pam. That's the same one that speaks for Trump in the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no,
that's the one I'm talking about.
The one with the no lips.
Yeah. Well, she just stated, and I posted it in the chat that they're looking to create a lot more ICE camp facilities, throughout all the United States. And then, of course, the elder Ayash, he's gone into it, and several times of how they're actually going to eventually be transferring a lot of these camps. They're going to be filled with U.S. citizens, okay? And they always have that agenda because they know that there's going to be a sedition. They know that their own citizens are going to eventually fight back.
Yeah.
America has more guns than they have people, so they have to strategically set certain things up. And we know, according to how they've done our people, is that they're going to use every power that they have. So they have the army. So when they bring in the army, people are going to sometimes will drop down their guard thinking, oh, the army's coming to help or to quell and and to make peace. But in actuality, they're going to come bringing that sword of destruction.
That's what I was just saying. We've shown over and over and over again that every faction of the U.S. government has had a hand in our demise.
Yep.
Her name is Carolyn Levitt.
Yeah. I just recently, she did she had stood and answered some questions before the people, and that was one major thing that she mentioned.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
We got any more there? We'll finish that out and close it.
Open it back up. Close it out. Wait, here we go. Yes, it says, according to Indian Commissioner Luke Lay, it was indispensably necessary that they be placed in positions where they can be controlled and finally compelled by stern necessity until such time as their general improvement and good conduct may supersede the necessity of such restrictions. So
pretty much that they won't fight back.
Right, they're gonna keep you in slavery until you do what they want you to do and how they want you to do it. It says, over the ensuing decades, the U.S. government's orientation towards Native American people fueled a paternalistic campaign to destroy indigenous cultures. Okay, and that's what you were going into with that other history with the Indian Removal Act. First, it was a civilizer. Now it's to get rid of them altogether. So, yeah, that's it on the article.
Yeah. We got anything? All right.
Yeah, what's that one, Proverbs? 26 and 27.
Yeah, let's grab. Let's end it. I always like to end on the script.
Yeah.
Scripture.
Proverbs 26.
And actually, while you're getting that, let me pull this real quick.
Okay,
and
go ahead.
we'll end with yours. This is Obadiah, verse 15. Excuse me, verse 15. It says, "For the day of the Lord is upon all the heathen, as thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head." So, you look to push our people out, even bring them to extinction, if you could. As you know, Ecclesiastes says there's no end of a people, but you try to make that a thing. Like the brother brought out Psalms 83, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more. And so eventually the Lord is going to do that unto you. The brothers bring it out all the time. You know, you'll serve double servitude, you know, and then when the Lord is done with you, you'll be eradicated. You know, because that's what, if you had if you had the power to do so, that's what you would do unto us.
Yep.
Because you've tried on several times, and you know, as far as the food quality, the mass lynchings and unalivings of the so-called, you have to say the so-called Black and Hispanic and Native American men, though the women fall into that, but the bloodline and the seed continues on through the men.
Yep.
So and just the agenda of the Planned Parenthoods, of paying high price to unalive the man-child, going back in the spirit of Egypt, as we are in the spirit of Egypt. What did they do in the last Egypt? They said, let's get rid of the man-child that is born and keep the woman-child, because they can continue on their bloodline through the woman as long as you keep the woman. But the man is a threat if we leave them alive.
Yep.
And so it's only by the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai that we are, even at the place that we are now, not only are we alive physically, but through the spirit, we've been quickened of Yahweh Shem Yahushai to be able to have this understanding and to preach this knowledge and truth from on high. You finish
Now,
with your
say
scripture.
to your point, what you said what they did in Egypt, the same thing was done when Yahweh was on the scene with King Herod.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Same
So
thing.
yeah, God. Yep.
And if you want to hold Proverbs 6, because that's going to tie into this.
I'll get it.
It says, when he speaketh fair, believe him not,
Yeah.
for there are 7 abominations in his heart. And we can go through those 7 things, what those abominations are. Proverbs 6.
Yep, this is Proverbs chapter 6, starting at verse 16.
And real quick, just to kind of throw this out there, you know, I keep bringing it up, but mind you, they haven't really said much again about Venezuela. You know, and what the whole big thing was the crime and the drug cartel, and so now it's ceased. So it ceased. They no longer speak on that anymore.
No, but you bring up a great point. I should have started a verse ahead of that.
Go ahead.
It says Proverbs 26 and 24. He that hateth dissembleth with his lips, and layeth up deceit within him. That's exactly what he did. The example that you made.
Which now goes to the other point, because he's done this all the time. But now the major one now is Iran.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you got to talking about they're fighting amongst us. There's protests, and like the scriptures also say, neither keep it at home. You're in everybody else's business, right? You meddle not in many matters, right? You meddling in these people's matters because you have control of the world. It's so much that's going on that's showing who he really is. And
Can I grab that right quick?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, and then come back to that.
Yeah, okay.
This is Sirach 11 and 10. It says, my son, meddle not with many matters, for if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent. And if thou follow after, thou shalt not pertain, neither shalt thou escape by fleeing. and he is not going to escape.
Well,
his
what is
judgment.
he trying to? He's a fugitive
Mhm.
through the spirit. He's a fugitive, and he's a vagabond.
Mhm.
He's always trying to hide and cover himself. And so when certain things come up, you have P Diddy, was pushed. Before that, you had Cosby pushed. Before that, after that, you had R. Kelly pushed, and like one of the elders, I think it was Elder Malcolm might have said it, but he was saying like they went so hard. He said, "Why didn't you going so hard about these files and these people who's been named in these files to actually push it just as hard? You went months on Diddy,
Yep.
and he's just a small part of the conglomerate, He's the tip of the iceberg of all the stuff that we're actually seeing, and then they went months into his trial, and they kept going over and over. So now that he's being exposed, what is he doing? I'm going to deflect. We have a war we need to focus on. So you want everybody to now focus on this war that you actually are creating,
Yep.
with Iran. And actually, I put the video in the News and Prophecy, El Yashawamba. These other nations are ready.
Yep.
They coming.
Yeah.
They're tying up. They binding themselves together, and they're ready for what to come.
Yeah.
So we're close.
Yep.
Salvation is closer than what we believe. And and it's an exciting time because they think that they're going to continue. Their houses shall continue forever. But the Lord is going to drop this bombshell on them.
Okay.
He's going to checkmate them, as
Okay.
other brothers use that term. We have the last scripture.
Yeah.
Finish the lock.
It says, I read that Sirach 11 and 10. So we already went through that. And going back to the Proverbs.
Yeah.
26 and started at 24. It says, "He that hateth dissembleth with his lips, and layeth up deceit within him. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart." And you got those 7 abominations.
This is Proverbs 6:16. It says, "These 6 things doth the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift and running to mischief."
Well, let's slow that down. Read one more.
That's him. That's all
Yeah.
him. It's-
It says a proud look,
Mhm.
a lying tongue.
So we know, like the Lord talks about, great miseries that's going to happen because the people walk in great pride. And Esau, according to Jeremiah, he's the most proud of all the nations.
What was that Isaiah 2? His look is more stout than his fellows.
His looks is most out than his fellow. He puffeth up
That is enemy.
at his enemies.
So
And we're
understand.
showing that he's doing all this and how he speaks and how he was speaking even to, when I say he, Trump, who's being led by the small hats, the Amalekites, how he spoke about the UN, the other UN nations. That was part how he said, "I'm pulling myself out of, that he wasn't going to pay the money that was that you have to pay when you actually come out."
Right.
Also, Elder Yashimar just was bringing out how he then, when it came down to the tariffs being said to be like illegal, or the courts went against the tariffs. He then said, "I'm gonna put a worldwide tariff, 10% on everyone," and so that goes to back up the point that this place Babylon is the great kingdom, and they rule the whole entire earth.
Yep.
If you can put a tariff on everyone on the entire planet.
Well, something I thought about earlier today. The Lord said in, I believe it was Exodus 17:16, He will be at war with Amalek from generation to generation. Now we see who's controlling our government.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's the low-level Edomite, but that war truly is with Amalek.
Because it's manifest, it's being made manifest, when he said being revealed. So it's like the more you speak, the oracles of the Lord said, "My word is not going to come back void." So we're saying these things, and then you seeing them pop up. It's just like the guy that's right beside Trump. I can't think of his name. We bring him up all the
Vance.
time. No, can't think of his name.
Miller. Oh.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you had
yeah.
like he's like these guys is popping up all over, and you're like, man, he's one of them.
Mhm.
He's one of the small.
Yep.
These guys
Well-
are like all throughout, and we couldn't see it, but now it's just popping up. They on the news media feed. I just watched the video. Tazapanya,
Mhm.
144.
Yeah,
Was just
yeah,
how the
yeah.
guy was like. The guy was walking around. He's like, we own. He said, the Jews, we own 55% of the NFL.
Yep.
And he said that we own 33% of MLB and NBA. And it was like, man, that's a large percentage. He said, and we're only 2% of Americans.
Well, that okay. Even with that statement right there.
Oh, he said we own all of Hollywood.
Yeah, well, we know
You
that.
know, but, yeah.
But that statement right there saying we're only the 2% of Americans. How do you know that?
Well,
The Lord said you are an innumerable multitude. So if you don't know what your number is, how do you stand against the rest of the world?
which is another great point. But what he was boasting in, that's boastful.
Mhm.
That's the pride.
Mhm.
They said, look, we came here, because they always say, they migrated or however they came. These humble beginnings is what they always push. But to be 2%, a small number, which actually, then in contrary, because you should be a great multitude
Right.
if you're running the earth and the Israelites, right, under the
Right.
true kingdom. But you 2% and you're boasting in that, yay, we own 50% of, these different companies. We own all of Hollywood, all, if not, majority of the media, all of these are being owned by them, So because they have the money, and they can, make certain moves, they've infiltrated every part and every parcel of America.
And we have.
So now to say that the whole ICE and how money's been moved, Trump at one point earlier last year was within this, him coming back into office, $250 million was donated from a private investor. It was like someone private donated $250 million. It might have came out right now, who it was, but it was like, oh, it was private because that was a time where the military members, we were doing that, during the help me out, the government workers weren't getting paid.
Shutdown.
They were during the shutdown.
Furlough.
The furlough. So then 250 million just came out somewhere,
Well-
donated. And we know that when people give money and things like that, we understand that nothing's for free.
Right.
There's an expectation, a get back for that money that was given.
What did you say? That dude said he owned 55% of the NBA or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got to remember that one. She's the loudest of the Amalekites that donate to him. That's the owner of the Mavericks. It's a whole lot more like her that ain't saying nothing. Giving those donations. She donated a lot of money to his campaign.
Oh, so Cuban don't have the Mavericks no more?
No.
Oh.
It's a Jewish lady.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the Cuban had it for a long time.
Nope.
Cool. Got it. All right, let's finish
Okay.
that. Let's finish. Yeah.
Finish reading those 7 things.
It says, verse 17, Proverbs 6 and 17. It says, a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood.
And we've been violence against our brother Jacob. Go ahead.
It says, and heart that deviseth wicked imaginations.
He sleep not unless he's done mischief, and his sleep is taken away unless he's caused some to fall. So he's thinking of ways to how can he get more from you. All right. Go ahead.
It says,
war.
Yeah.
Like you said, you always quote the lady. She said, it wouldn't be war if her sons didn't want it.
Oh, Gutli Shatner, Rothschild, yeah.
Mhm.
She says if my sons didn't want war, there wouldn't be any.
Right. And they know there's a lot of business. They make a lot of money in war.
Yeah, they fund both sides.
Yeah. Go ahead.
it says, feet that be swift and run into mischief.
So that's the point. They run both sides. Yep. They create these things. Go ahead.
It says, and heart that deviseth wicked imaginations.
Mhm.
That's like I read that already. Verse 19, a false witness that speaketh lies.
And they always they bear false witness. We read that all throughout the Bible against our brother Jacob.
Every week, you know, somebody will get accused of something. They don't care about having what's right. It's a black guy as he was guilty. Period.
Yeah.
So-called black man. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. It says that he that soweth discord among brethren.
Right. And that's the split. You know, you play both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You instigate.
Yeah.
The fight between and one big one, you know, is the so-called blacks, the so-called native tribes.
Yep.
You know, there was a division, a fight between, you know, the tribes, and there was a split back then within our tribes, but you know, he pushed it.
Yeah.
He pushed it forward.
Oh,
That's
shoot.
why you have now, you know, you can look in the prisons systems, for example, you know, and you see that there's a lot of segregations, but you have the blacks and Hispanics are always fighting,
Mhm.
you know, against each other.
Mm-hmm. Now, he even does it amongst us. You know, like he infiltrated the Black Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people don't realize MLK, who was supposed to be for his people, he won the first Margaret Sanger Award. Okay, and her goal was she clearly said, we got to get rid of Judah. So she got with all these churches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what's that? Zechariah 11:5. You know, she somebody grab that right quick.
Zechariah chapter 11 verse 5.
Yeah.
It says, whose possessors slay it. Read verse 4.
Yep.
It says, thus said the Lord of my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them
Mhm.
and hold themselves not guilty.
That's Esau. You know, that we're into their hand. You know, slay us and hold ourselves not guilty. A perfect example of that is the Casual Killing Act of 1669. You know, if you happen to kill a slave through the course of correction, you know, the women, it was mostly women, they can't be held accountable for it. Where's that transferred to now? The police. You know, shoot Jake with impunity. You know, and get away with it. All right?
And they that seldom say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and
Mhm.
their own shepherds pity them not.
And they make with those killings, they make profit from our death. From the time, well, first of all, the gun that they sold, then from the time the ambulance picks you up, all the way to the coroner, all the way to being buried, they make some profit off of that. Okay? And then it says, whose shepherds pity them not. A lot of those pastors, you know, been paid off. We know that was the case with Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood. You know, that's why they don't get involved with a lot of stuff, because they weren't involved on the front end, like the dude who infiltrated the Black Panthers. You know, sold out. Then I think he ran out on the expressway and killed himself.
Well,
Some crap.
and
Okay.
then you had just recently 1,000 or so pastors that were sent over to Israel.
I couldn't see how many of those were Jake though. A lot of them look like Edomites.
But still the point,
Yeah.
you know, they're using
Jake
because
attends some of the churches.
because a lot the Hispanic the Christian churches and the Catholics, you know,
Jesus Christ.
yeah. So they've used use the pastors, and they go back to the same playbook. Okay, let's bring them over.
Yep.
Let's give them this holy so-called experience,
Mhm.
and then send them back with words to take back to their congregation to
Yep.
spread. And so these are, again, a seed being planted, train up a child, right?
Yep.
In the way they should go. So they, you know, are now taking that back. But of course, this is to go against the narrative or go against the prophets that's actually speaking.
And you mentioned that they brought those 1,000 pastors over there. At the same time, they make it very clear they hate Christians. They hate Christianity. The same people that flew them over there. You know, they put this in their face, and you know, have them do their bidding.
Yeah.
But see, that's that pride. Those white evangelical pastors are going to. You had a few of them, but the majority of them are never going to admit that we are the people, because they know the price if they read the scriptures.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Good.
Finish that.
You finished
I
that
think
up?
he did. Yep.
Okay. This is back to Proverbs 26, verse 26. It says, "Whose hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation." And that's what's happening. He's being exposed. You know, his hatred. You know, especially for Jake. You know, what's that? One of that scripture in is it Ecclesiastes? The wise man. Oh my goodness. No, a gift destroyeth the heart. That's what I was getting at. That one. He deceived our people.
Oppression making a wise man
Yeah,
mad.
yeah, but a gift destroyeth the heart. You know, the scriptures talk about those flatteries. You know, they give Jake status or money. You know, he's going to sell you out.
One example of that, and then we're going to start closing this out. One example of that is the influencers, because he also went, the top elite, you know, the same ones that brought the passes over. Just before that, he was giving thousands of dollars to many of these influencers if they would actually speak on their good on his behalf.
Yep. On
You know.
the nation of Israel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're doing this because they know that they're being exposed. They know that luster, you know, that shine that they had before, would be people would believe everything that they would say and all these things that it's actually gone. And it started by, you know, been destroyed by the mouth of the prophet, you know, the mouth of the prophets, you know, which is the Lord's mouthpiece, you know. So.
All right. This is the
Yeah.
last scripture, and this is the
Uh-huh.
point here. It says, "Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him." So, you know, we showed you in the book of Jeremiah 31, 31 through 34, how you try to destroy us, you know, by taking away the things that the Lord put here for us. You know, the world was made for our sakes. You try to destroy the ordinances of that, okay? It's going to come back on you. You trying to get rid of us forever, the scriptures actually say you are going to be going away forever. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right? For all things like this. All right? Anybody got anything else?
So with that, we hope that this lesson was edifying, uplifting, and exhorting to the elect body of true believers. Before we end, we'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rahawadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. Until next time, all those listening and learning to you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.